Thank you for joining us today for our one-of-a-kind sustainability webinar. Together, Microsoft and Uptake are accelerating our customers' progress towards a more sustainable future by reducing our environmental footprint, accelerating research, and helping our customers to build a more sustainable solution for advocating policies as well as benefiting the environment. My name is Leanna Chan, and I am the head of Global Business Development for Uptake. You're currently on listen only mode, and please feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat, and we will discuss them after the webinar. Today's Microsoft and Uptake's webinar is focused on transformative ESG for sustainability, environmental, social governance, and decision making, where we will discuss the acceleration of trustworthy, verifiable sustainability decisions and shareholder reporting. Microsoft and Uptake are helping customers to accelerate achievements of their sustainability goals and improving ESG best practices. This requires the capability to make time-sensitive decisions. To enable this ability, organizations are becoming more aware of traceable, secure, and operational data that is required to make these decisions. By leveraging Uptake's industrial AI software, transparency can finally be achieved from sensor to boardroom. Today, we will discuss how to get more out of your digital investments to record, report, and reduce environmental impacts while creating synergies across sustainability, ESG, operations, and energy innovations. After today's webinar, you will be able to accelerate your understanding in providing traceable, verifiable data for sustainability and ESG investor reporting, recording all of your business activities and get near real-time emissions footprints to your entire operations, report and track towards sustainability goals while meeting regulatory and public reporting requirements, and reducing emissions and improving business processes and making lasting changes. Next, I'd like to introduce our guest speakers, Valeria Savenko. Valeria is an IoT and mixed reality business leader for Australia and New Zealand. Valeria is an electrical and biomedical engineer by degree with a huge passion for IoT, cloud, and challenging herself. She learns new things regularly and is always helping others to achieve their goals. She has a strong understanding of IoT and data-driven applications and loves the flexibility and agility that cloud enables her. Valeria enjoys being on tools that build solutions for customers as well as partners. As the business lead for IoT and mixed reality for Microsoft in Australia and New Zealand, she works closely with her partners and the Microsoft team to help customers digitally transform and innovate with IoT and mixed reality to reach their business goals. Prior to her current role, she was a data and AI engineer in Fast Track with the Azure team and working with the engineers developing solutions for their customers. She's a strong believer in services and products where Azure offers our sustainable solutions and advocates for various local government and global conferences and social media platforms. Next, I'd like to introduce Drew Soignier. Drew Soignier is a visionary, forward-thinking leader with over 25 years of industrial digital intelligence experience. He has held leadership positions in sales, marketing, product management, and development. His areas of expertise span in the process, utilities, manufacturing industries with a deep focus on digital opportunities in asset performance, process safety, and rotating equipment. He holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in electrical engineering and an executive MBA from the Louisiana State University. He also is a licensed professional engineer from the state of Louisiana. Now off to you next, Val.
Thank you, Leanna. As Leanna mentioned, I lead Internet of Things and Mixed Reality here at Microsoft. And Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. The scientific consensus is clear, and the world confronts an urgent carbon problem. The carbon in our atmosphere has created a blanket of gas that traps heat and is changing the world's climate. Already the planet's temperature has risen by 1 degree centigrade. And if we don't curb emissions and temperatures continues to climb, the science tells us that the results will be catastrophic. The world's climate experts agree that the world must take urgent carbon actions to bring down emissions. And ultimately, we must reach net zero emissions, meaning that humanity must remove as much carbon as it emits each year. And for example, here at Microsoft, we have set a goal to be carbon negative by 2030. And by 2050, we will have removed all the carbon we have emitted into the atmosphere. And I'm grateful to talk to you today because it is a critical time and we are facing an extraordinary challenge to stabilize our climate by building quickly towards net zero. Many organizations and individuals are setting targets to achieve carbon neutrality, like yourself. And thank you very much for joining today to learn more about it. And it is my privilege to share with you today and talk to you about how we can help you transform your business and accelerate your sustainability momentum. Even as pressure mounts for organizations to demonstrate and report their sustainability progress, most organizations are still scrambling for actionable solutions. One of their greatest challenges is understanding how they can identify, capture, and use data to figure out where they are and what they need to do. While many different steps are required to achieve sustainable digital transformation, they all rely on having a common foundation that ensures carbon emissions are measured in an accurate, consistent, and reliable manner globally. Over the next decade, we expect most governments to make carbon emissions reporting mandatory, and regulatory requirements are already in place for many industries and regions, as well as investors are demanding that organizations report their progress. But research indicates that most organizations are using some type of offline spreadsheets to organize and report their emissions data, or just don't do it at all. Organizations understandably focus first on their scope 1 and 2 emissions, so those generated through their own activities and operations. And as a refresher, scope 1 emissions are the direct emissions that your activities create through the direct use of fossil fuels like transport trucks or diesel generators. Or scope 2 emissions are indirect emissions that come from production of the electricity or heat we use in our offices and plants. And the scale and breadth of our world sustainability challenges requires a data-first approach. And therefore, our partners like Uptake help organizations understand that to achieve sustainability goals, traceable, secure, and operational data is required. And by leveraging Uptake's industrial AI software, transparency can be finally achieved from the sensor to the boardroom. And now I'm going to hand over to Andrew, who is going to explain how it all comes together. Over to you, Andrew.
Thanks, Val. So at Uptake, our mission is to provide asset-intensive companies the traceable, secure, and cost-effective ability to connect their machines, people, and data together, to embrace their fiduciary duty, and act in the service of global sustainability. So let's take a look at what the shareholder and investor expectations are in the realm of sustainability. Their interest is to make sure that the marketing and sales of carbon neutral offers and products and finished goods meet their sustainability goals. Organizations are looking to ensure and guarantee to shareholders a sustainable balance with a net zero target for the delivery of the energy value chain. Additionally, they want to make sure that they uphold their fiduciary duties with traceability and verifiable claims. So now let's look at the market trend and what the opportunity really is. To ultimately provide a guarantee, verifiable ability to make environmental, social, and corporate governance, ESG, if you would, time-sensitive investment decisions through secure AI-enabled industrial intelligence, ultimately at the lowest total cost of ownership from sensor to boardroom. However, one of the barriers within digital transformation is also emerging as one of the largest barriers for ESG adoption, and that is data and the ability to abstract, organize, curate, and orchestrate this information across the enterprise. So let's take a moment to talk through at a deeper level where the challenges really are. So in support of sustainability and ESG is ultimately a data value chain. And specifically for the information that's required to provide traceable and verifiable information, we have to look at the operational technology or OT data conundrum. The data is essentially siloed away across multiple levels of the organization, within operations, across other parts of the business, and available in different sites in different ways, oftentimes. So the goal is how to really liberate that data, abstract it, create the connectivity in a way that is verifiable and traceable in support of organizations' ESG goals and their reporting commitments. So essentially, what makes us unique? As we look at the industrial AI flow, if you would, we have the capability to translate between chief security and sustainability officers, their organizations, information technology, operational technology, as well as operations leaders and executive vice presidents to ensure that all the stakeholders' desired outcomes are met, as well as all of their key indicators related to sustainability and ESG. Ultimately, what we're able to do is reduce the chaos from the data sources through the organization, how to ultimately record, report, and reduce in service of your sustainability goals, and making sure that from production all the way through delivery, there's a unified approach and ability to monitor the data. As we look at our customers' challenges, the feedback has really been three things: how to create tamper-proof traceability so that there's an audit trail from sensor to boardroom, removing the spreadsheets and ability for unauthorized changes to happen across not only sites, business units, regionally, as well as globally. Second, ensure that we have and are providing carbon-centric decision-making. The ask has been how to create an enterprise-wide ability that allows to be tailored to our sustainability commitments as customers to ensure that their goals are met, especially in this time of market variability. And last but not least, one of the things that's accelerating the quickest is how to ensure data confidentiality as well as private AI computing. And this ultimately is where we leverage the ability of the customer's Microsoft Azure tenant so that their infrastructure and your infrastructure can be maximized to protect all your data, allowing you to control and eliminate any third-party or unauthorized exposure. And in service of our customers and to ensure their delight, we want to make sure both Microsoft and Uptake that we are maximizing your trusted partner ecosystem. And this is a small sample of the partner ecosystem that has the energy and focus on your sustainability goals, both from a tactical perspective as well as an enterprise perspective. We're very excited about the level of energy and support that they're providing. So let's take one last look at what the solution could look like. The key here is ensuring that not only from a reporting perspective, but from a decision-making perspective across the value chain of the organization, that the information is based on actual performance of the equipment, assets, and people. Also making sure that you have the track and traceability, eliminating spreadsheets or any chance of error, and ultimately ensuring that the data and AI are customer controlled. So being able to pull the information in from various systems and sources across IoT, OT systems, connected workers, as well as enterprise systems at the lowest total cost of ownership for data ingestion. Ultimately, an intelligent asset registry with a group of products that are really built for purpose for the industrial areas, that are built for purpose for industrial settings to ensure that you have a secure foundation in place powered by your Microsoft Azure tenant to deliver essentially a one-stop shop for sustainability, provide things like risk analysis, and ensure that any time-sensitive, carbon-centric decisions that are provided in a very transparent way. Ultimately, in closing, Microsoft and Uptake's goal is to provide a verifiable single source of truth for sustainability and ESG reporting and decision-making. Leanna, back to you.
Thanks, Drew and Val. We appreciate your time today and thank you for joining us for the Microsoft and Uptake webinar on making verifiable, trustworthy sustainability decisions for shareholder reporting. We appreciate your time and we are looking forward to hearing from you soon. Please feel free to reach out to us at any time with our contact information below or look for the Uptake Sustainability Bundle on the Azure Marketplace. Have a great day. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And it looks like we have quite a few questions here, so we can go through them. So let's get started. The first question we have is, how can I use your solution to create a baseline for my current GHG emissions?
Yeah, thanks, Leanna. So I think the thing that's been really clear the last couple months is, as organizations are energizing themselves around ESG and sustainability, they looked out and across their organization have different levels of greenhouse gas reporting structures, et cetera. And kind of one of the key things that a lot of architects in service of their business leaders have reached out on is basically leveraging a common data set in a way that creates the intelligence from what they've collected to date in a way that's repeatable, so that they can scale it across their enterprise, reduce the spreadsheets, get out of the custom reporting business, and really create that foundation and that baseline around their emissions goals.
Great. Thanks, Drew. So the next question is, how does your solution address social governance aspect of ESG? What types of standards and governance does your solution follow?
Yeah, that's great. And I think, in the spirit of connected workers, which has kind of popped up again today between the sessions, is, organizations are looking to not only get at the actual production data, if you would, but also start to get into data sets and information rather, and turning that information around their employees and be able to provide the transparency to report on and make the decisions around environments inside and around their facilities, as well as then making sure that you've got full traceability all the way from sensor to boardroom from that source, to be able to leverage the power of Azure, the discipline of an enterprise approach, to be able to produce the information that they need to make the decisions and report on basically the environment at hand.
Excellent, thank you. So we have another question. How would I be able to bring in data from a JV into my ESG calculations using your solution?
Yeah, I think across the chemical, oil and gas and energy and power and utility markets, especially, many of us have kind of worked, in and around joint ventures, especially as they've extended into different parts of the world. You can end up with separate enterprise data centers as well as multiple clouds. And so the ability to kind of fuse that data together, be able to keep it separated logically from a reporting standpoint, if you would, separation of church and state, and be able to utilize regional as well as enterprise calculations to be able to kind of drive the isolation, but also provide the transparency of what's required regionally for those joint ventures, as well as to the market as well.
Excellent. Another question. Thank you, Drew. What added benefit do I have of using Uptake solution if my data is already within the Azure Data Lake?
Yeah, that's a great one, and especially as we've seen, organizations, and we encourage it. They've been out there kind of working with Microsoft to try to get some of that data lifted, and a lot of this comes down to basically having a set of ESG or sustainability data structures that are repeatable, that are verifiable, We meet you where you are. One of our key tenets there, if you would, is meeting you where you are, leveraging the data you have, and then kind of augment that with a set of industry structures, if you would, to be able to leverage the data that you have, add data over time, and increase the transparency.
Great. Excellent. Oh, here's another question. How can you help us compile and publish our ESG data into other existing tools we use to track and compile data for reporting publicly? There's the first part, and then there's another part.
Okay, so I think the big thing here is the move from individual integrations to actually the power of Azure and Data Lake and leveraging open services from Uptake in Microsoft. So one of the fundamental things we've done over the last 18 months at Uptake in collaboration with Microsoft is really open up the AI equation, if you would, and be able to treat data in a one-to-many approach. And what that does, specific to this question, is it allows us to get the data organized and curated in support of existing reporting, existing tools, different tools in some cases, as we're finding now from company to company, and be able to pull that data together and set up the public reports that you're looking for. Most recently, we actually did an exercise with a customer, kind of looking at their most recent reports and kind of going up the data value chain to be able to automate that process in the months ahead.
Great. Thank you. And the second part of the question is, what integrations would we need to typically set up in order to get the data lake out of our operations and into Azure and into Uptake?
Yeah, that's the beauty of Microsoft and Uptake collaborating together, is the cloud is providing just an added layer of versatility there, where you can actually reduce the costs and the need for traditional integrations and leverage the power of the data lake with Uptake's abilities to essentially create that integration layer in a publish and subscribe manner.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everybody for all of your participation and great questions. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you.